Thank you for staying with us. The news begin right here in Nigeria, where the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency (NDLEA) and the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons (NAPTIP) have set up teams to strengthen collaboration in the fight against human and drug trafficking and substance abuse. VOP News gathered that the team was constituted today during a court visit by the Director General of NAPTIP, Binta Bello, to the NDLEA Chairman Buba Marwa at the agency's headquarters in Abuja. Speaking during the meeting, Marwa congratulated Bello on her well-deserved appointment to lead a very important agency like NAPTIP and commended her for hitting the ground running. According to him, there's a linkage between human trafficking and drug trafficking and abuse. Some trafficked persons are used as mules. Some may know, some may not know. They may give them drugs sewn into their bag and they can be drugged to be compliant, to do what they want, end quote. Marwa assured her of NDLEA's preparedness to deepen collaboration with NAPTIP. He stated that the three-member liaison team will work with the team from NAPTIP on agreed areas of partnership. Speaking earlier, the NAPTIP boss emphasized the importance of a deepened partnership between the two agencies to the disruption of criminal networks involved in human and drug trafficking as well as substance abuse. Now on to security matters. The Secretary of State Police Command has announced the arrest of several suspects involved in illegal possession of firearms and activities believed to be linked to terrorism. The breakthrough is credited to the efforts of the State Commissioner of Police, CP Ahmed Musa, in curbing crime and protecting public safety across the state. In a press statement released today, the spokesman for the command, DSP Ahmed Rufai, revealed that detectives from the State Intelligence Department apprehended one Bello Ibrahim, also known as Bello Currency, and four others. Those arrested with him are Alhaji Mohammed Danlato, Alhaji Abun Buhari, Alhaji Faruku Alhaji, and Abubakar Furniture. They were arrested over unlawful possession of firearms and suspected terror-related activities. According to investigations, Bello Ibrahim allegedly sold fabricated revolvers to the other four suspects under the pretext of self-defense. The weapons were unregistered and no valid firearm licenses were obtained, thereby violating the Firearms Act. Also, the added that the suspects were arrested during a coordinated operation in the Tamboa local government area. Also, similarly, on April 19, 2025, police officers on duty at Kebe Police Station arrested three individuals, Danagaji Bala, Sani Mohammed, and Denjima, all of Dogon Marco village, who were allegedly found with a locally made revolver and 19 rounds of AK-47 live ammunition. All suspects are currently in police custody and will be charged accordingly. The command stated that investigations are ongoing to uncover any wider criminal network or connections to terrorist operations. It reaffirmed its commitment to safeguarding lives and property and urged residents to remain vigilant and report suspicious activities to security agencies rather than resorting to unlawful measures. Now, moving on to another recent development, the Nigeria Education Loan Fund (NEL Fund) has disclosed that in its first year of operation, over 500,000 Nigerian students applied for loans through the NEL Fund portal. The fund said this was achieved within just 11 months of operations, underscoring the need for accessible student financing. Managing Director, CEO of NEL Fund, Mr. Akintunde Sawyer, said that this is more than just a number. It's a signal of hope for families across Nigeria. We're witnessing a nationwide demand for opportunity, and NEL Fund is proud to be at the heart of this transformation. He said since the launch of the portal, students across the country have actively engaged with the application process for both institutional and upkeep loans, demonstrating the relevance and urgency of the fund's effort. Now, moving on to the political scenario, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) is yet to decide regarding the leadership of the Labour Party following the recent Supreme Court ruling. Multiple sources within the commission disclosed to correspondents on Thursday that INEC is still reviewing the court's judgment. Speaking anonymously due to lack of authorization to address the press, one official stated no decision has been made yet on the Supreme Court judgment of the Labour Party. Another official explained that the commission would make a decision only after studying the certified true copy of the judgment. You recall that the Supreme Court had on April 4, 2025 overturned an earlier ruling by the Court of Appeal that had recognized Julius Abure as the national chairman of the party. The Apex Court ruled that the appeal court lacked jurisdiction for internal party matters. However, the ruling has led to differing interpretations, with Abure claiming that the Supreme Court did not remove him from office, while the Labour Party Caretaker Committee, led by Nana Usman, argues that Abure had been ousted. At the same time, Lamidi Akpakpa, a factional leader, has surfaced to claim the party's leadership. In an effort to clarify the leadership situation, a Labour Party delegation led by Abia State Governor Dr. Alex Oti and 2023 presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi, visited INEC headquarters on April 9. During the visit, Obi submitted a certified true copy of the Supreme Court's judgment to INEC, aiming to clarify the party's leadership and ensure effective communication with the electoral body. The delegation was received by INEC National Commissioner Sam Olumiko and other senior officials. And still on the political scenario, however, in a very recent development, the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has stated that those recently defected from the People's Democratic Party to the APC are only exercising their constitutional rights. You know that Governor Sheriff Oborori from Delta State, former Governor Ifeanyi Okowa, and members of the Delta State Cabinet recently dumped the PDP for the ruling APC. Reacting in a statement he personally signed today, Atiku said freedom of association and expression are not optional in a democracy, they are fundamental rights. According to the former PDP presidential candidate, he bears no grudges against anyone for exercising their right to political alignment, adding that defections, alliances and realignments are part and parcel of democratic politics. Atiku, however, berated those who have insulted him because he visited former President Muhammadu Buhari. He said when PDP leaders are busy sipping tea and brokering power deals with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, it is called strategic alliance. But the moment he greets Peter Obi, Nasir El-Rufai, or visit Buhari, it becomes a national emergency. He said, some have resorted to insults because I visited former President Muhammadu Buhari. Let's not rewrite history. Buhari is not only a former leader, but a significant statesman in the Nigerian political landscape. During the 2013 opposition merger, the leaders of the time consulted widely, including visits to Obasanjo and Babangida. So why is it now sacrilegious for me and other leaders to visit Buhari in Kaduna? If you truly believe in freedom of association, then you must respect the rights of all political actors to engage regardless of party lines. When PDP leaders are busy sipping tea, brokering power deals with the president, it's called strategic alliance. But the moment I greet Peter Obi, RFI, or visit Buhari, it becomes national emergency. Hypocrisy and the politics of selective outrage have never been this fashionable. End quote. He disclosed, however, that the Tinubu administration has no achievements to stand on, no credible record to defend. Its only strategy is chaos and division, because that's the last refuge of the incompetent. And make no mistake, an incompetent captain does not only wreck his ship, he endangers the lives of everyone on board. Meanwhile, former national DG of the NHIS, Professor Usman, has recently disclosed condemning the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. You do know the former NHIS boss is currently going through an EFCC investigation for alleged embezzlement and financial fraud. However, he was arrested and released after almost a month within the correctional center in Kuje. Let's take a brief listen to him via a monitored television program.
Government. They are treating all of us, Nigerian government. They are treating all of us, Nigerians, as conquered people, and all of us as his spoils of war. We are barely midway into his first term. A term that's full of deceit, a term that is tribalistic, nepotistic, a term that is hardship inflicting, a term that is state capturing, a term that is intolerant, a term that is not inclusive. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is using agents of state to stifle any dissent, and that's exactly what it is. He's using that, and that's why the world needs to know. That's why I am writing up. And we are talking about a president who was an ADECO activist himself, who ran across the border, ran away from the military, because he was criticizing them. who never gave Obasanjo time to sleep, who never gave, even Buhari was criticizing them, and he cannot stand criticism. Criticizing a government in a democracy is a constitutional right of every citizen, and we're going to continue that. Putting me 6 days in EFCC or 24 days in Kuje will not do that. Even in Kuje, I did. Will continue to speak the truth.
And Prof, is there a chance that the president had nothing to do with this?
Well, that's his problem. It's his government. Whoever else is doing this in his name, we are telling the world this is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's government being tyrannical and stifling dissent in a democracy. Whoever goes, whichever Gestapo is letting loose, is his government, not them. I have no problems with, is it EFCC, is it that? No, my gripe is with the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his government for what they are doing. End of story. And it's not personal for me. I am speaking for what is right and will continue to do that. Continue to do that.
All right, you just listened to Professor Usman Yusuf from our NHIS bus. Meanwhile, former member of the House of Representatives and ex-presidential advisor Dr. Usman Bugaji has accused Nigeria's ruling party, the APC, of systematically using money to induce defections from the opposition People's Democratic Party. Speaking via an interview recently, Bugaji claimed that the APC has been aggressively targeting opposition figures, leveraging both financial incentives and potential legal threats. His words, "Well, for what I know, and I don't claim to know everything, the APC is basically using money to buy off PDP. Bugaji argued that the root cause of the ongoing wave of defections is money, warning that such practices pose a great threat to Nigeria's democratic system. Meanwhile, the coalition of united political parties has said Nigerians would be the deciders of who wins the 2027 elections. The National Secretary of CUPP, Chief Peter Obi, noted that the former presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, secured more votes in the 2023 election despite alleged flawed results announced by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. Chief Obi, in his statement today, condemned the personal interest-driven ideology of Nigeria's politicians. The former national chairman of the Inter-Party Advisory Council, IPAC, stressed that the last 2023 election revealed the power of the citizens to initiate a political change. Meanwhile, in a war of words between a PDP chieftain and Peter Obi, who is obviously a prominent figure in the People's Democratic Party, Segun Shoumi, has cautioned former presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi, urging him to stop painting Nigeria in a negative light during his international engagements. The council comes less than 24 hours after Shoumi made a public appeal for Obi to return to the PDP ahead of the 2027 general elections. The PDP stalwart's latest comments were triggered by Obi's recent remarks made during a visit to Johns Hopkins University in the United States, where he analyzed Nigeria's development trajectory in comparison with countries such as China, Vietnam, and Indonesia. Obi had taken to his X handle to share the contents of his presentation, in which he pointed out that in 1990, when the Human Development Index measurements commenced, Nigeria alongside China, Vietnam, and Indonesia were all placed within the medium category of the HDI scale. According to Obi, while the other three countries have since moved into the higher category by 2025, Nigeria has regressed into the low category. He also added that Nigeria had the least number of people living in poverty amongst the four countries in 1990, but the reverse is now the case. Shoumi, however, challenged Obi's interpretation, describing his comparisons as imbalanced and failing to reflect the full picture of Nigeria's economic structure. In his rebuttal shared via X, Shoumi argued, with due respect at Peter Obi, these measurements are faulty. They're extremely skewed because those who manipulate these figures have no metrics to measure the informal sector in Nigeria. You need to stop this, especially at international forums. He went further to advise Obi to direct his criticisms towards the real culprits of Africa's economic challenges, saying you ought to place the burden on them and their crazy neoliberal policy and its deep state manipulations that put undue pressure on Africa. No one who wishes to lead a nation called Nigeria must be the demarcator on steroids of the same country he or she wishes to lead. Stop it immediately. Shomi questioned the motives behind Obi's public critiques of Nigeria's economy before foreign audiences, asking, are those you wish to impress outside our country not aware of the multiplier effect of the destabilization of the Sahel and its unfortunate consequences on Nigeria? You need to cut the crap. Hashtag Nigeria First. You're currently listening to the World News at 6 right here on Voice of the People 92.3 FM. We'll take a very short break. When we return, we'll head into a news analysis segment where I'll be joined via the telephone with Barrister Tunji Abdulhamid, who is a political, national and social affairs commentator. To kindly stay with us. All right. Barrister Tunji Abdulhamid, good evening and thank you for joining us today on the World News at 6.
Good evening. Thank you for having me here, sir.
Thank you, Barrister Tunji Abdulhamid. The former NHIS boss, let's start with that, has called President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration tribalistic, nepotistic, authoritarian, declining, and criticizing or imprisoning anyone who dissents or critiques his administration. Would you agree with his line of thought? You know he has an EFCC case to respond to. His case is still in court. The former NHIS boss. However, a lot of critics have come out to say, who are you to call the president all these names? When you served during the administration of Muhammadu Buhari, you guys also did worse. You continued with the nepotistic and tribalistic appointments within the presidency. However, Usman defended it by saying, after all, the North is huge, right? He defended all the appointments as saying that a Hausa person does not constitute the entire northern region, that the northern region is very vast, but that the appointments within the administration of former President Muhammadu Buhari was diverse and not as Lagos-based as the president. What do you have to say about this?
Esther, the truth is that there is nothing that is not correct in that issue of the defense being one-sided in terms of the major appointment.
Okay.
But for me, as far as I'm concerned, the president is living to his word. What do I mean? The president said it to us that the Milokan. The president said that said that he will continue from where the former president stopped.
Hello, Barrister Tunji. Okay.
The former president Buhari, you also recall that this is the way and manner he was operating. In fact, he said it. He can only work with people he knows, and then he was appointing people from one side of the country, or even from his hometown. So, and what we are saying at that time that this is not good for democracy. The majority of people are defending it, just like people are defending the one the president is doing now. The same people tomorrow will be the one that will come up and say and start criticizing that kind of style if any other person comes up. I'm not surprised anyway, because our politics in Nigeria is about identity. It's about our turn. When you do politics of our turn, when you do politics of a Miloka, there is no way it's not one-sided. Because when you say it's from our turn, what are we talking about? Is our turn or is our turn? If it's your turn, that means you are saying people that will form the government should be majorly to be from the part of that country. As long as we continue with that ethnic sentiment arrangement, where we say the turn of the south, turn of the west, turn of the north, we will continue to see this, and it will continue to be like that. So if a certain from the eastern part of the country or whatever is able to position now, if that thing will complain of similar thing, it will also continue and even do worse than what we are seeing today. So for me, I think we have accepted it, we have aligned with it, and we are working with it. So let's just continue to play our sentiment politics.
All right, thank you, Barrister Tunji Abdulhamid. So another thing to also consider is this. Atiku Abubakar has actually disclosed, we know there's a wave of mass defection from the PDP to the APC. He said that there's nothing wrong. It's the democratic right of any individual to affiliate themselves with any political ideology or any political party. But however, he called the critics those who critique him, all right, of his method, visiting former President Muhammadu Buhari, greeting Peter Obi, he called them hypocrites. He said because they would embrace any other person who defects to their party. They wouldn't call them out. They wouldn't criticize. That even they usually visit former presidents. They recently visited former President Muhammadu Buhari. They visited Babangida. They visited Obasanjo. But whenever he visits any of these political elder statesmen, whenever he greets a Peter Obi, it becomes a matter of national emergency. Why is that so precisely? That's his ideal, his question, that he called them critics that are being hypocritical and not sincere to themselves, and said that this administration is one of the worst of its kind when it comes to dividing the polity rather than uniting the polity. So how do you react to his statement?
This is similar to what we just discussed regarding the divisional appointment or whatever.
Yes.
I think it's about the government in control, government in charge. When PDP was in charge, you see people moving from the other party to PDP. Now the APC is in charge, and that's what you see. You see people moving from the ruling party would gladly accept them. You remember when the people from River State, the House Assembly members, announced their defection to PDP and to APC. You recall that the president's comment was that you expect me to reject people who are coming to join my house. So I do not expect any party to say, look, these people have come to join you, and you say no. You see, we don't have policies of a principle in Nigeria. There's no principle. There's no any out of morality. There's no integrity. The policy we are playing in Nigeria is policies of how to win election. Not even policies of governance. They are not doing politics for those of governance. The policy is the policy we are doing for those of acquisition of position of authority. So that's why you see most people that are moving today now. They are not moving because they want to fight for their people or they want to get a better life for their people. They are moving because they want to secure their next election. That is what that's what they want to align. So that they believe that aligning will make it easy for them to win the next election. That's what they are doing. So for me, that is the kind of policy we are playing in Nigeria, and Nigeria people have come to accept that. Because you see some Nigerians who come and tell you somebody is a master strategist in politics. In fact, it's that time we have a school of politics for certain to be able to do this and that. They are not praising them for good governance. They are not praising them for good delivery. But they are praising them for being able to manipulate, for knowing how to win election, for knowing how to gather. So what we are doing, what we are concerned, and that's why you see from day one, the agenda of APC or the current president is how to about the 2027 election. In fact, only campaign. He started only campaign for the 2023 election. So the president said, if I did not fulfill my promise, don't vote for me in 2027. Even for the 2023 election. So it's about policies of winning election. So it's not about delivery. It's not about governance. And we are praising it. Some of us are praising it. And then it appeared. Some of us are enjoying it, and so I think we have to do it with what we are getting.
There is no power. There is an economic decline. There is no job opportunities are very slim. A lot of Nigerians are looking for money to just leave the country. They feel that outside this country or outside this sphere would be better for them. A couple of people feel dejected, traumatized. They also feel frustrated. A lot of things are, in the belly that is hurting Nigerians. And the administration's talk is all about politics. If you go on social media, it's all about the president's political sagacity, the president's will. He needs to write a book about his political machinations. It's ingenious and all whatnot. At this moment, do you think governance has stopped? Because it's just the second year of this administration. He has 2 years to go and there's a lot of work to be done. So why 2027 on the lips of everybody? Why 2027 on the lips of his aides? Why 2027 when he still has a lot of work to do and to achieve?
I just told you that the work, the major work they have to do, as far as they are concerned, about winning the next election, about politics, about game. And that's why you see, in fact, when some of them are making their comments, they will tell you, this is politics. This is politics. You have to play it very well. You have to know how to play politics. Go and learn how to play politics. So it's about politics for them. It's not about governance. And their mindset is about capturing the power capturing the state, capturing everything. Not about how to deliver quality projects, quality welfare, quality security, quality whatever. It's about, so as long as that is the mindset, and people don't care, and that's why you see they don't even care about whether or not what they have done, whether they will win the election or not. They know how to do it, and people will praise them and say they are master strategists. They know how to play the game. So it's not about, and that's why they don't bother. They don't care. What they are concerned is about to they believe that politicians will deliver the results, not Nigerian citizens. Nigerians don't even care. But how many of us are participating? Few of us. So they don't feel, and people that are participating, majority will participate. They want to collect something, and so those who will not be concerned will either stay away in the name of our vote will not count, or stay away in the name of I am not concerned, in the name of I am too clean for, I'm too pure for that game. So they leave the wicked people to participate, and then we expect a better result thereafter. So for me, people running out of the country, running inside the country, or whatever, running away outside the country will not solve the problem. If we all try to run away or find an alternative solution, just like the federal government did, we don't have light in our country. The federal government is looking for solar at the Aso Rock. So if we all continue in that manner, we won't solve any problem. Everybody will just be looking for alternative means to survive, and it becomes something else. So for me, as long as we don't elect people into office based on their agenda, based on their principle, based on on policy or on their program, we are elect based on the how and when how they can maneuver and get more political supporters or support, then we'll go nowhere. If we are in a country where things work well, nobody will care whether anybody is free for any party or not, because it's not the governor of Delta State that will move to whatever that will determine the result of election, that will force everybody in Delta State to vote for that party. In fact, I get concerned when people say particularly because the governor is from APC, they say that state is now an APC state. How can it be? Is everybody APC? Are you going to force everybody to be APC? So we that belief that once a governor is in PDP party, that state is considered PDP party. So PDP state. Once a governor is from NNPP, that state is considered NNPP state. And still everybody in the state are member of NNPP. Me, it's not that we continue to play politics of winning election. We will continue to see the kind of result we are having. No development will come. No growth will come. You can see the government is not concerned more about development. They are concerned about the game, how to win, how to retain the office they are. PDP when they were in position, they also say they 56 years or how many years.
All right, Barrister Tunji, let's move on to reverse. Let's move on to reverse. Retired Vice Admiral Ibok Eta IBAS, who was recently appointed as Rivers' sole administrator after the suspension of Governor Sim Fubara. Well, you know that the House of Representatives asked him to appear before them to give them a report of his 1 month in administration. Before then, IBAS had disclosed that he wanted to present a budget to whom nobody knows. So the House of Representatives constituted a 21-member committee, all right, announced by Tajuddin Abbas. The idea is that they would oversee the affairs of the state, and IBAS would report to them, because there were reports that IBAS was taking over, making decisions without the input of the National Assembly, specifically without the president. Now, it happens to be that when he was invited for the closed-door meeting the first time, they postponed the meeting. They said they would communicate when next he would appear. So while he appeared at the meeting, he expressed his regret for his earlier absence and requested more time to prepare his briefing, noting that he is still acclimatizing to the demands of his new position, and that the committee should be patient and support him as he settles into his duty. So I want to ask this question: was he not yet acclimatized when he said he wanted to present a budget? Was he not yet acclimatized when he instituted caretaker committee across all the local government areas in Rivers? Was he not yet acclimatized when he asked all the political appointed members, to go off, like to leave the Rivers State House, and he appointed certain persons? Was he not acclimatized when he started taking up the roles of the governor by inspecting projects going on site? So when asked to come and present and tell them in the House what you've been able to achieve in the past 1 month, all of a sudden he's not ready, or he doesn't have he has not acclimatized to his roles and duties, and asking for support. How do you react to this statement or this expression from IBAS?
Let me ask this question. You need not answer the question. What budget is he presenting? How did he? Is he prepared? He's not prepared. That is the right thing. He's saying the correct thing, because he has no knowledge of the state that he's coming to develop. He has no money to deliver. He has no promise that he has made. He doesn't even understand what the people of the liberties are looking for. So as far as I'm concerned, it is not what he said is the reality on ground, because without he doesn't understand it. Those things you said he did are political. Are based on political appointment. That is part of his mandate, as far as I'm concerned. We should also come and take over the government, give opportunity to all other people who are against the governor, and then let them be in charge. So you see, when it comes to playing politics, we get results. When it comes to development, we don't understand it, or we need time. That is the kind of thing we are doing. So the administrator clearly understand the role he has been given to come and perform, and he's performing. Nobody, no river state gave any mandate. There is no mandate to him. There is no promise to the people of River State. There is nothing. So they can't ask him questions. He take instruction from the president, and the president will determine what he wants to do. So as it is today now, presidency or the president are the one in charge of River State, and they give directive to the what's it called, to the administrator, because there is nowhere in the constitution where it is stated that administrator can become the chief officer of the state. So in that regard, he has no responsibility. He has no. So maybe he wants to go and find out now whether or not what do we need, and this and that. Like we said, he will not have any. When it comes to appointment, he knows who to approach. Then when it comes to development, he may not get anybody to approach, or he may not even know. In fact, some people are even. You can see you notice that existence in River State, and in that regard, it shows that some people are not accepting his authority in that regard. So for me, it's not new. The National Assembly is thinking that because they have certain level of the Constitution, which talks about when the state assembly is unable to perform its responsibility, the National Assembly can take care. But that is as regards the governance in the democratic system. What we have to do is not a democracy. It's not a democracy. It's not even a civil administration. I don't know what I want to call it. I don't want to call it military administration. I don't want to call it paramilitary administration. I don't want to call it ex-military administration. I don't know what to call it. There are no basis in our constitution, so I don't know the name to call it. So for me, I'm not surprised that the governor, the administrator is saying he's not prepared. He wants to go and prepare because he's never prepared. He was not ready for the job. He didn't have for it. He was just pick to come and do an assignment. And the new assignment, the script has been given to him. He's playing the script. That was the script. The appointment he made are part of the script. The issue of come and govern is not part of the script, because they do not expect that he want to govern. And I don't know what he wants to do in 6 months. This project is approved now. I don't know what he wants to do. What he wants to do. This 6 months we have just about how many months to go? 4 or 3 months. In 3 months before they even pass the budget, or even then the 3 months already closed up. And so it's just a way to play the politics. I agree with him. He's not ready.
All right.
I agree with him.
For Rotimi Amechi, finally, before I let you go, for Rotimi Amechi, he believes that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu actually broke Nigeria's constitution by removing Governor Sim Fubara and declaring a state of emergency there. But if that is the case, why is Fubara eventually hailing and showing support to the president, and there are permutations that he may defect from the PDP to the APC just so that he can return before the 6 months elapses? How do you think this would affect those who have supported him all through this ordeal, who have been holding the torch for him despite all the challenges that he'd been facing, from the federal government?
In politics, that is why somebody has said, don't die in their war in politics. They usually are pawn in chess game, and then they drop you when they don't need you anymore. They don't care. Once they're able to achieve that, a similar situation happened in states. I won't mention the state. When the governor was to do his second term, and there was a strong opposition from his court. Some people set up a support group for him. They were putting pressure, and people were supporting them, and the godfather saw the pressure, and he aligned with him, and he gave him second time. You know, he abandoned those people. But since the day they aligned, he did not even remember them again. He did not even remember to even say, thank you, we have settled, and then I'm going back to. He did not even talk to them again. He was not even picking their quality. So for me, it's about their interest. So if you are playing politics, if you want to join, if you want to fight for for politicians, don't know what you are doing. Don't go and die in their war. Don't fight your friend just because of a politician who doesn't even understand you or doesn't even know you. Don't go and kill yourself. So for me, it will be disappointing to the people of people who are genuinely fighting for him. For the politicians, they will not be surprised. For those who are, for the ordinary citizens of people who are genuinely rooting for him, they will be disappointed, and he doesn't care. Sometimes he may not even address them, not even talk to them, because he doesn't even know some of them, or majority of them. So for me, that's the way of politicians. They care about their own personal interest, not about what their interest will be given. Anyway, people have been telling him to go and play politics. So he's trying to play the politics. The politics is to compromise. Agree with what they are saying and continue your job. And that's what some people Nigerians have been saying. Let him go and do whatever what is needed to be done. Either appease his semi-gods or semi-gods. And then so they will allow him back in the office and he will go. And even though after all, the godfather has said if he apologizes to him, he will accept him back. So probably they are working in that line now. Probably he's going to do that. Probably he's not going to do that. But the concern is to go back to the office, and as it is now, he may likely not even he will not even look at those people supporting him twice before accepting whatever they want to give him. If that will bring him back to the office.
All right, Barrister Tunji Abdulhamid.
It's a lesson to Nigerians that you don't die for politicians.
Barrister Tunji Abdulhamid, thank you so much for taking your time to give us insights and your perspective into some of the stories read out on the World News at 6. We sincerely do appreciate your input.
Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure to be with you.
Yes, thank you, Barrister Tunji. Now, going on to the stories outside the shores of Nigeria, Ukraine's President Zelensky has disclosed that Crimea belongs to Ukraine after U.S. President Trump said it will stay with Russia. Crimea is a southern peninsula of Ukraine that was illegally annexed by Russia in 2014. Zelensky has repeatedly rejected the idea of recognizing the region as Russian. It comes as U.S. envoys Steve Witkoff and Vladimir Putin discuss the possibility of direct peace talks between Russia and Ukraine during a meeting in Moscow. Details of U.S. and European peace proposals have emerged via the Reuters news agency, and they differ on key areas such as security guarantees. It is increasingly clear that Europe and Ukraine have been sidelined from peace talks. Now, as it may seem, while speaking to reporters in Kiev, Zelensky says he might miss the funeral in Rome tomorrow because of important military meetings. World leaders, as you do know, including U.S. President Donald Trump, are expected to attend the leader of the Catholic Church's funeral. Zelensky, who had earlier said he would attend, says if he is not there in time, Ukraine will be represented at a proper level. Meanwhile, Akpabio, the Senate president, is meant to lead a team to go commemorate, or rather visit, the burial sites in Rome for the Pope's burial, representing Nigeria. And now to wrap up, here is a summary of the main news. You heard lately that NDLEA NAPTIP set up team against human drug trafficking. Police nab terror suspects, recover arms in Sokoto. Also, in a very recent development, however, now found student loan applications hit over 500,000 in 11 months. Peter Obi versus Abure, INEC still reviewing Supreme Court judgment. Also, Atiku cautions, discloses that opposition and party members making deals with the president say do stop drinking tea. Meanwhile, Nigerians have disclosed that they would teach politicians a lesson in 2027. Segun Showumi cautions Peter Obi not to demarcate the country if he wants to lead. And on stories outside the shores of Nigeria, Zelensky discloses position unchanged on Crimea after Trump says it will stay with Russia. That's a wrap on the World News at 6. My name is Esther Wanchuku. Good evening and thank you for listening. Up next is the Evening Rush at 7. To stay with us.
A new dawn, a new story from the station that keeps you informed.